Israel is preparing for a possible ground invasion by the Houthis through the Jordanian border. Tension with Iran is mounting as the regime continues to murder protesters, and the United States is building a war machine in the Middle East. And the IDF is racing to bring its last hostage home. Things are happening fast in the Middle East, and it doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon. The situation in Iran right now is still very insane, at least from what we can tell. It's hard to verify what's actually going on when the whole country is currently under an internet blackout. What we do know is that the United States has been conducting a military buildup in the area. The USS Lincoln set sail from Southeast Asia towards the Middle East last week and has just arrived in the Middle East yesterday evening and is reported to be operating close to Iranian waters. The US has been moving fighter and refueling aircraft to air bases in the region and bringing in Patriot and THAAD missile defense batteries. The Air Force also is moving EA-37B electronic warfare aircraft, basically jamming planes, to a US airbase in Germany. Last week, the Iranian government basically directly threatened the assassination of President Donald Trump, and Trump, as can be imagined, was not too happy about that. Also, the U.S. Treasury Department is loading more sanctions on Iran, and the chief of the U.S. CENTCOM Central Command visited Israel last week. The internet blackout in Iran started on January 8th, and reports are coming out that the majority of the massacres took place in those first few days, with some human rights groups claiming that the death toll could be as high as 36,000 people. Reports have surfaced saying that Iranian security forces deployed low-flying surveillance and attack drones to combat and attack these protesters. These drones were used to target protesters in cities like Tehran, leading to hundreds of casualties in these operations. Now, these reports suggest that the use of these lethal drones could be why the casualty numbers seem so high from these protests and the attacks against them. There's still no real information as to if and when the United States will strike Iran. So far, it has just been a bunch of threats from President Donald Trump. But the U.S. military buildup in the region suggests that something is in the works. Meanwhile, in Israel, the IDF has launched a massive exercise to prepare for different extreme scenarios regarding Israel's defense, outside of the likely scenario of an Iranian attack on Israel. Now, this new drill is to test the preparedness of the IDF's command system, as well as situations where there's a shortage of manpower of soldiers in the region. One of the situations that Israel is preparing for and training on is the possible ground invasion by the Houthis through the Jordanian border. The Jordanian border has been a major concern recently security-wise for Israel due to the large number of weapons and drugs that are smuggled across from Jordan into Israel. Last month, Israel began a huge project to build a $1.7 billion security barrier along the entire length of its 500-kilometer border with the country of Jordan. This latest possible scenario has been a developing threat over the last several months, with Israeli security officials warning of the possibility of Houthi operatives crossing into Israel from Jordan and carrying out attacks. The fear is that the Houthi operatives are looking for a new front to open against Israel and could relatively easily infiltrate into Jordan through Syria and attempt to attack Israel from there. Another scenario being prepared for in Israel with this drill is a replication of the October 7th style attacks, but here in Judea and Samaria. The IDF is training for coordinated terrorist raids targeting multiple Jewish communities simultaneously. While we pray that these attacks never actually materialize, training for them is the smart thing to do. Thankfully, Israel's defense forces are taking many precautions to prepare for potential attacks from any and all possible fronts. A large search is underway in the Gaza Strip. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about a very special opportunity. Millions of Christians visit Israel every year, but do you know how many of them come to Judea and Samaria? Hardly any. Unfortunately, they're missing out on the place where a major part of the Bible was either written or occurred. Most tours, however, ignore this incredible region of Israel. That's why we created the Heartland Experience, the only Israel trip that focuses exclusively on Israel's biblical heartland. This year we have two 10-day trips, one in March and the other in June. Even though this is more of a tour experience, you get to meet the actual people of Judea and Samaria, and we also incorporate several volunteer experiences so that you can get your hands dirty while serving the land and people of Israel. The Heartland Experience is not only the perfect way to experience Israel, it's the perfect way to experience the land and people that call Judea and Samaria, Israel's biblical heartland, their home. The deadline to sign up for the March Heartland Experience is February 2nd, so don't wait to sign up. Just click the link down in the description below. Big things are happening in the Gaza Strip. The IDF announced yesterday that they are currently undertaking a painstaking process to find the body of the last Israeli hostage that has not been returned by Hamas. Staff Sgt. Major Ran Gvili's body is the last remaining hostage inside the Gaza Strip. Even though under the terms of Phase 1 of the ceasefire deal, Hamas was supposed to return all of the hostages, living and dead, but they failed to return Ran Gvili. Now the IDF is taking matters into their own hands to find their fallen comrade. New intelligence indicates that the hostage may have been buried in a Muslim cemetery in northern Gaza that's currently in Israel's controlled part of the Gaza Strip. The IDF is turning over the graves one by one to try and find Ran's body. This is a painstaking process, and the IDF isn't even 100% sure that the information they have is reliable. But true to the IDF's commitment to always bring every soldier home, they are exhausting all possibilities of where Ran Gvili's body could be found. Another big move happening in the Gaza Strip is that Israel is about to reopen the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt. This is a very controversial move here in Israel, as the Rafah crossing has been the main lifeline for Hamas for decades, and Israel didn't get the upper hand in the Gaza war until they completely seized and sealed off the border above and below ground of the Rafah crossing. Many in Israel see it as a kind of surrender to Hamas to reopen the crossing, where so many weapons and raw materials were smuggled in by Hamas to use to murder Israelis. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir said this at yesterday's cabinet meeting. "We have done great things like eliminating tens of thousands of terrorists, but we still have not completely destroyed Hamas. We must dismantle and demilitarize it. Enough of the naivety of Kushner and Witkoff. If the Rafah crossing opens, it will be a major mistake and send a very dangerous message." From our observation here at the Israel Guys, Minister Ben-Gvir's warning echoes the feeling of many Israelis about this issue. But opening the crossing is a part of Trump's 20-point peace plan that the government of Israel is attempting to follow very closely. Yesterday, the Prime Minister's office announced, as part of President Trump's 20-point peace plan, Israel has agreed to a limited reopening of the Rafah crossing for pedestrian passage only, subject to a full Israeli inspection mechanism. The positive thing about this move is that Israel is not pulling out of the Rafah crossing or the Rafah corridor for now, and apparently are only opening the crossing for pedestrians. Hopefully, they will be able to keep weapons from being smuggled to the terrorists still in Gaza. Also, the Prime Minister's office did say yesterday that they will delay the opening of the crossing until the conclusion of Operation Braveheart, which is the name given to the operation to find Israel's last hostage in Gaza. Only once the IDF finishes their search will the Rafah crossing be reopened. Guys, let's pray that the IDF will be successful in their search. They will find the last hostage that is in Gaza and bring him home for burial. That's it for today. Don't forget to check out the Heartland Experience trip. Just click that link down in the description below. Don't wait to sign up. And as always, thanks for watching.